Hey guys, it's Wednesday morning and this is the day of the new digital classroom, and we're going to work today with Ingrid and we're going to go on location. Well, not really on location, we're going to use the studio and the surrounding areas. Now, digital classroom is at 3 o'clock and we already did some tests yesterday, so everything is pretty much set up. But still, 2-3 hours in advance of digital classroom, we'll do one final run just to be sure, because if you go live and something goes wrong, that doesn't look right. So during the morning I'm actually writing some new blog posts. Now my blog is updated every single day except on Sunday. And we try to fill it up with tips, techniques, new images, videos, and everything I think that's interesting to share. And sometimes we just put some fun images up, like street and travel photography images, or just some stuff we found during our trips. So I'm updating that now. And normally I will write about 10-12 blog posts in once and put them in the queue in WordPress. So every morning at 6 o'clock you guys get a new blog update. So I'm going to do that now, and after that I'm going to show you guys, actually for you that's the next video, I'm going to show you guys how we set up for digital classroom and the gear we use, because that's very important, of course. I'm using the new DxO Optics 11 for some of the images from the UK tour, and I have to say the new engines are really great. So if you're a DxO user, check out version 11. I think you're really gonna love it. Okay, so we all know we have to calibrate our monitors, right? Because we want color accuracy in our images. Now on your computer you use something called an analyzer. Now these analyzers are intrastimulus or spectrometers, and they're often called x-rites or spiders. Now I use the Color Monkey Pro, and of course in the past we also use spiders and x-rites. Now one of the things that a lot of people forget is with video, you also have to calibrate your camera, of course. Now these are the things we use to calibrate our cameras. These are the color checkers. You can see a white and you can see a black part, and you can see all the colors. And this, by the way, is the smaller one. This is the video passport. On the back you can actually set color balance. Very important to have all your cameras on the same color balance. Now the front we use with zebras, meaning that you know what is overexposed and what is underexposed. Because we film with two cameras, we have to try to get this as correctly as possible. Now during digital classroom, those two cameras are of course routed through the Blackmagics, so I don't have any preview. But if we're filming something on the card, meaning for an instructional video, we use these two BenQ monitors to actually see what both cameras are filming. The problem is, normally both monitors aren't exactly the same. So what I'm doing now is I'm gonna make sure that both monitors are exactly the same, because then I know that both cameras will actually get me the right image. Now what do I use for this? Now you see this is a slightly different setup from what you use on your computer, right? Well, I'm using Calman Business, the professional edition, on a laptop. And that's connected to a C6 analyzer over here, which is actually an x-rite, on one of the BenQs, and you now see a pattern which we use to set brightness. The generator is a Meridio, and this is a really cool generator because it does HDR and 4K and 3D, and it has all the settings you need. So it has all these patterns built in, and it's connected to the software here. So when I set something in the software, it will automatically transmit it to the Meridio and get it into the BenQ monitors. So now what I have to do is calibrate this monitor to be exactly the same from that monitor. And what we after that have to do is make sure that one camera is exactly the same as the other camera. So we have a lot of work to do before digital classroom, and to be totally honest, I think we're in deep trouble because it's raining like crazy and it's even hailing, and they are gonna say they're gonna be thunderclouds. So I don't know if we want to do an outside session, but we'll see. But first I have to finish this. One of the things you might not realize is that, for example, with contrast settings, a lot of the monitors have way too high contrast, meaning you block out all the whites, or you crunch all the whites, or you blow out all the whites, just depending on what you want to call it. So let's go into this menu, and what we're actually going to do is go into menu, and go to picture adjustments, go to contrast, and then we're gonna lower the contrast. Now watch as all the squares on the top starts to appear. You see this? Now this is one of the most important settings, because if you don't set this correctly, it will look like you blow out all the whites, you start correcting, and in the end you will never ever get the correct image because the monitor doesn't show you all the whites. We do the same of course for brightness, and after that we do grayscaling and of course a little bit of color. So it's a long process, and on the monitors I have to be honest, I skip a little bit because it's just a preview monitor. If we do something like this on a projector or a big display or in a complete workflow, there's really a lot of stuff you can do. We can do settings for the so-called CMS system, color management system, which means you do the red, green, blue, cyan, magenta and yellow. You do the gamma settings, which you might know is a 2.2, 2.4 or in modern days actually BT 1886. So that's a lot of technical stuff, which as a photographer luckily you don't have to know. But I'm also a calibrator, and in that kind of profession you really have to know all this stuff. So it comes in really handy when I do stuff on the computer for my photography, which is actually color managed. So I'm gonna continue now, and I'm gonna turn off the camera because otherwise I can't calibrate this monitor. As you can see in this meter reading, this monitor actually has too little red, too much green and too little blue on 80 IRA. That's a certain setting. So we have these squares on the screen, and for example if I go to 100 you will see this. Now if I do a meter reading, you see approximately the same situation, and when I go to 30, this is a darker square, and I do the meter reading. There we go, similar situation. So this is pretty good. Now the only thing I have to do is in the lower part lower the green a little bit and lower the blue, and in the higher part I have to raise the reds and raise the blues. Now I won't explain why we do that, but it has something to do with optimizing the contrast ratio of a screen. So this is the calibration, and I have to do this for 2 monitors. Okay, Steffi, so you're helping me to create the new raised tablet, right?
Yeah.
Raised tablet? Raised tableau?
Raised tableau.
The raised shelf. So I still have to take 1 foot off. 1 foot off. Oh my, this is going great. And so this one is just a little bit wider, so it will actually hit the wall, so my monitor can't fall off. And we're gonna place the feet a little bit more towards here, so we're pretty sure that there can be no accidents, because a monitor that falls behind your desk, never a good thing. Okay, so we put everything back in place. So we have our BenQ on top, we have the Wacom here, and still room for the keyboard. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it cannot fall off again. So we changed this shelf to be a little bit longer, and now it's the perfect solution. And when I want to work with the Cintiq, I can just drag it forward, take away the keyboard and start working on it. And when I have my normal desk set up, I can just push it back underneath the shelf and still use the BenQ or the Cintiq and use my third monitor. In the meantime, Anouk is setting up the cameras for perfect color, good color, without color cast, with the gray card, which Menno is holding, because I'm going to do a small video for Ellingrom for the introduction of the new Skyport. So Anouk, are you almost ready?
Yes, I think so.
Awesome.
Can you turn the card?
Okay, so why is it important that we calibrate the whole workflow? You see Menno holding here the color checker. Hello Menno.
Hi.
And you see the 2 monitors here. So this is actually what I'm seeing. And you see that both monitors now give exactly the same image from the 2 monitors. So now I can very easily spot if something is different or I need different lighting. And that saves a lot of time later in post-processing. Okay, because shooting outside probably will be a problem, we're now creating a backup plan by creating our own blue sky. No, I'm just kidding, of course. So if we can't shoot outside, we're actually going to shoot against a blue background. And we're going to find some locations inside our studio, probably those ugly doors, which I love, and see if we can use that as a location. But we'll see, maybe it will dry up outside. Oh, the stress with this incredibly Dutch weather. Yeah, well, we'll have to figure something out. Now we have still slow internet in our studio via ADSL, but for digital classroom we actually use KPN 4G. Now 4G is of course through the air, so it's not 100% reliable, but up until now it works pretty well. And just before every broadcast we still check if the speed is okay. So we're gonna do that now, and you can watch with me. Now remember, our normal internet speed is about 11 megabits down and about 0.8 up. That's way too little for, of course, something like digital classroom. So when we see stuff like this from the 4G networks, I always get a little bit excited because this is pretty fast. Now, I hope in the future we will have fiber and then we will do much more online. But at the moment that's not possible. Okay, this doesn't look right, so we have to tweak this a little bit because the down speed is actually way too slow. It should be much higher. And let's see if we have a stable up. As soon as we have 6 megabits up, we are ready to go. Well, ready to go. It's still 2 hours, but we have to make sure that everything works way before the broadcast. This is okay. Normally we get around 40, 50 down and 30, 40 up. So we have to check what's going on, but I think a simple reset of the router will work. So I'm going to do that now. As you can see, there's a lot of stuff that goes on before we can go online. Okay, while the router is restarting, I'm going to show you what we use for digital classroom. Now, this is my MacBook Pro, which will run Wirecast. I love Wirecast for doing this kind of stuff. And here you see a cold digit unit. Now, the cold digit we need because the MacBook only has 2 Thunderbolt connectors. And we use 2 Blackmagics. So that would be totally full. But we also need a wired network connection. And because you can use network over USB, but I don't trust that, so we just bought a cold digit, because over USB we had some problems in the past with speeds, and this works pretty fast. It's a 1 gigabit connection, so that's pretty fast enough. And we also have some extra USB connectors on the back. Those things aren't cheap, but I think they're worth the money. So this is where we run Wirecast with the 2 Blackmagics. Now for video we use 2 Sony cameras. This is the first, this is a 4K. And we have a second one, which is over here. And this is also 4K. We do stream in 720p. And we hope in the future, if we have fiber, that we can actually start streaming in 180p. You see the Sennheiser on top. That one will broadcast the audio into the camera, into Wirecast. And I will be wearing a wireless mic. Now, if we do go outside, here we have one of the ELBs, a Quadra, and of course the HS head from Alengrom to get that really nice high sync speed. Okay, so that's the setup, and let's hope that the weather will be okay so we can go outside. And the router has now been resetted, so let's see if we can get some more speed out of our 4G internet. Now, believe it or not, boys and girls, but 1 hour before the broadcast and a week, how's the weather?
It's
great.
out here.
And we have to clean this up just a little bit because we want to use this part to do a small photo shoot, but there's a lot of thorns over here and we don't want Ingrid, of course, to be hurt, so we're gonna cut those off. And as it looks now, well, we still have to fix the internet. But it looks like it's going to be very interesting because it's very hot now. Cool. So we go from hail and rain to very hot. Welcome to the Netherlands. Hey guys, so you know we owned a computer company once, right? So we know how to reboot stuff. We just kicked the router, we rebooted it and it still didn't work. So at one point we just thought, let's change the network cable. And ladies and gentlemen, we're online. So let's see the speed test now. So we're gonna do the test, and again we have enough of 6 megabytes up, but this is pretty interesting, I think, because now we have full speed on 4G, and you still wonder why there are so many people without a good internet connection when the 4G is this fast. So we now have a nice and steady around 46 to 50 up. Sorry, this is down, and let's see what we have up. And again, we only need around 3 to 6. 6 is to make it really stable, and 3 is what we actually stream with for 720p. So let's see what we now have on up speed. There we go. So if you have a problem with your network, always always check the routers. Check of course your switch, and if that doesn't work and you kicked it already, and of course that's a joke, change the cables. Because now we have full speed, so we're ready to go. And actually I think that Ingrid just came in, so let's see if Ingrid is already here. Ingrid! You arrived! Hello!
Hi! Gezellig.
Yeah, gezellig, that's Dutch. Are you looking forward to it?
Yeah, quite.
Awesome.
Thank God the weather turned out to be better.
Oh, she speaks very well English.
Thank you.
Awesome. Okay guys, so we're gonna go in, we're gonna do some final preparations, and then we're ready for, and a week?
The maxi lights.
Yes. Okay, because we're also gonna show you what we do with the Cintiq. We have one camera set up over here, aimed at the Cintiq. And because we're doing an outside shoot, we don't use any lighting inside. But I still want to show you what we normally use, and now we actually use this to light my set, is we use these LEDCO panels. And they're really awesome. You can change the color temperature on the back, and it's now on normal power outlets, but you can also get batteries for them. So if you are in the market for LED panels, make sure to check out LEDCO. We really love them, and they give a tremendous amount of light, because they're not even on full power now, and they already light up the whole set. So this is the setup we are going to use for today. And normally during digital classroom, we have two of these babies, making sure that you can see my eyes. Or the model, whichever you find more interesting. Okay, so we're almost live, and it's about 20 minutes left. This is the setup we're going to use for the Cintiq. And Brian just came in, our son is going to help us. Hello Brian.
Hi.
And here you can see Wirecast running. This is, by the way, the monitor I will be seeing the images on. And we have already set up some stuff outside. So this is Anouk's camera with which she will be filming me. And we already set up the Quadra. And now just let's hope it stays nice. So here you can see Wirecast already set up. And there you can see the live monitor, so we can see all your questions coming in during the live broadcast. So in a moment we're going to start. So now I'm going to turn it off, because I still have to go to the restroom, and you don't want to go there. That's what stays behind the closed doors. Believe it or not, 10 minutes before the live show. Yeah. Well, Brian is standing here next to the camera, making sure that if it starts to rain, we drag everything inside. But oh man. Okay guys, 2 minutes till showtime, and we're very nervous because last minute everything went wrong. And of course everything is alright now again. It's always with digital classroom, in the last minutes everything is alright. And I don't know why, how many times we do it, there's always something that goes wrong. But now, are we ready for it?
We are ready.
We
Definitely.
are ready. Now I hope that the weather is also ready for us. So I'm going to shut this down, and we're going to go live for digital classroom. Now if you were online watching digital classroom, or were watching digital classroom, you saw that we had to determine to stop the broadcast for the very simple reason we had some flickering, and that was actually due to what you can see here. Yep, Dutch weather. Loads and loads of rain. We are now trying to reboot everything, but it took a pretty bad hit, so we're gonna see if we have new cables, and we're gonna try to go live again in about, well, maybe 10 minutes. Hey guys, we're just done with digital classroom, and this was a challenge, I kid you not. Now, we started out, a lot of rain, and one of the black magics is now actually black, and there's no more magic in it, because I think it got hit by lightning. Although that isn't possible, but it was very weird. The moment it started rumbling, our video started to flicker, and it was the end of the black magic. So let's hope they can fix that one. So we finished with one camera, which was already a challenge. And then we had some other problems, but that's normal during a live shoot, you know, some things can go wrong. Now what I have to do is I have a team view meeting with a company which will help me out with a problem we have with the generator. And a generator which creates images for calibrations. And I still have to do some image retouching, of course. And then I have to do a review for a projector. So I will be here late, and probably tonight we'll watch a movie and kick back. But for now, this was the vlog for today. Unless something really interesting happens, but I think I got my dose of interesting stuff for today. So see you guys tomorrow, and I hope you enjoy it. And if you enjoy it, check out Patreon, as you can see in the next slide. Okay, so one more clip for today. So when we installed the Cintiq, we had a lot of changes, of course, in the way that I work, because it's a big boy and it takes up a lot of desk space, but also because you're now actually retouching on a surface. You have to have your keyboard somewhere and of course your trackpad. Now the trackpad is not really a problem, it's next to the Cintiq. The problem was the keyboard, because normally the keyboard, well, where do you put it if the Cintiq is actually over your desk? So the keyboard was on the side, and that means you had to reach out for the keyboard, and that's not very ergonomical. So what we did is we used a small TerraTools table, as you can see here, and we put it on a stand. Now this is still a test, so we're using a music stand, but we're going to make a small stand here. And now we actually have the keyboard over here, and we can change the height very simply with the TerraTools connector here. And it's on the arm and a small table. And now I can just move it underneath, I can change it around, I can turn it, and when I don't need it, I will place it away, lift the Cintiq up, and then place my keyboard in front of the Cintiq. So that's the final adjustment, I hope, to my new desk, and I really love it. Don't you just love Ingrid? Yeah, it was a great digital classroom. Okay guys, so tomorrow I have a day off, so no vlog tomorrow, but on Friday we have a really cool workshop, and we're gonna do a vlog then of course too. See you guys.